All right. Good evening, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another edition of the BFTAA and More Show. I'm your host, Louis George Walker, and I'm coming to you live from the KUAW radio studios located in the WEB Du Bois Learning Center in Kansas City, Missouri. Let me get this volume right. I'm hearing myself back a little too loud. All right, gives me a little bit of an echo sound. So there you go. So we're located in the WEB Du Bois Learning Center right here at 4510 East Linwood Boulevard in Kansas City, Missouri. And we're coming to you live on Facebook, on YouTube, on Twitter, and Twitch. We're also broadcasting audio only on Get Me Radio, on the TuneIn app, on my radio tuner, and on my online radio bot and Radio Garden. So you can pick us up on those. You can also, if you have a smart speaker at home, if you have an Amazon or Google smart speaker, tell it to play KUAW, and you can hear us there. So we're all over the place. We're coming to you live and in living color, and we're just so glad to be with you today. Now, the Black Family Technology Awareness Association is going to be celebrating in just a few days or a couple of weeks our 20th year in operation in Kansas City. We started in 2004 in February, and we're going to be going back to that in this year coming up. So 20 years, we're going to start celebrating in February. We're going to continue throughout the year with our 20-year anniversary celebration that'll be going on for the Black Family Technology Awareness Association. We hope that you can join us. We're going to have events that'll be for the public. We'll have some virtual events. We'd like to, if you've been involved with the Black Family Technology Awareness Association in any way through our VEX Robotics, our Lego Robotics, with our Black Family Technology Awareness Week and our robotics competitions, if you've been in our drone program, or if you've been a part of our radio program, KUAW Radio, which is a part of the Black Family Technology Awareness Association, if you've been a part of any of that in any way, if your child has been, if you've been a volunteer, if you've helped out at some of our events, we'd like to hear from you. Please reach out to me, George Walker. You can pick me up on Facebook. Just go to the Black Family Technology Awareness Association or put in BFTAA, and we should come up. Send us a message on Facebook. You can pick up BFTAA on Twitter, YouTube. Go to our BFTAA page there. But send a message so we can get in touch with you. We want to hear from all people that have been involved with the Black Family Technology Awareness Association in any form. Whatever you were doing, if your child, if your grandchild, or your niece, your nephew, if you heard about us, we just want to get information. We want to talk to people and want you to give some of the things that you know about the Black Family Technology Awareness Association that you want to share with the public. You can either talk live, you can give us a recorded message, you can type something out and just say, hey, I was a part of Black Family Technology back in 2005 or 2006. If you were a young person and you received an award at one of our youth technology fairs or something like that, we would love to hear from you. We want to hear from everybody that's been involved or has had some kind of connection with the Black Family Technology Awareness Association, and we'll be glad, very glad, to talk with you about it and to hear of your experience. So it's going to be a fun year coming up. We're getting ready to wrap up 2023, Of course, everybody knows Christmas will be here a week from today. So this time next week, you'll be still kind of groggy from all the Christmas toys, getting up early in the morning or having a big Christmas meal or whatever goes on at your house if you celebrate that. It's going to be happening a week from today. So next Monday is Christmas. But we know also what happens right after Christmas. Yes, it's Kwanzaa time. So be sure and get with us if you celebrate Kwanzaa at home or if you go to the citywide Kwanzaa event. Kwanzaa will be starting on the 26th of December. The citywide Kwanzaa celebration will be down at the Gym Theater in Kansas City, Missouri. So we hope that you would come down to it. But if you're just celebrating out and about, we'd love to celebrate with you or hear about your celebration of Kwanzaa. There's a lot of things that have gone on in this last year, and it's time to give thanks for them and to build upon those and to even move forward. There's been a lot of positive things happening in Kansas City. We started off with winning the Super Bowl, and it's just been a time of great things happening. And there's been some tragedy and bad things also, and we need to cover all of that. So in the next week, we might want to do that. So if you get a chance, if there's something you want to talk about that went on through the year, holla at your boy. That's right. I'll get with you on that. Matter of fact, let me see if I've got our link up so that you can put something in from Facebook right now. Let's see if I can find the chat overlay. There it is. If I refresh it and see if we come up. There we are, yes. So if you go to our KUAW radio, the main feed, if you just saw it up there, KUAW radio. If you want to send me a message or if you want to chat, put a message in there. It'll pop up on the screen. We can actually see and talk about whatever it is that you would like to talk about. Now, there's a couple of things happening. Usually we do this week at NASA. They don't seem to have a thing up for this week yet. I'm going to go back and look and see if we'll find one of theirs. But they do have a Space to Ground. So we like to talk with NASA or play some of what NASA puts out. And we're going to show you right now this week's issue of Space to Ground from the National Aeronautics and Space Administration, NASA, one of the premier research organizations in the world, and definitely doing a lot of research and development. And there's a lot of opportunities for young people to get involved in NASA, to look at STEM, science, technology, engineering, and math. So let's see what they've got coming up with Christmas right around the corner at Space to Ground.
Welcome to Space to Ground. I'm Chelsea Bayarte. The holiday season is in full swing here on Earth, and up in space, the festivities have already started aboard the International Space Station. The SpaceX Cargo Dragon spacecraft delivered some holiday food about a month ago: chocolate, turkey, cranberry sauce. But this week, that spacecraft is coming home delivering science experiments back to their researchers. The SpaceX Cargo Dragon spacecraft will undock from the space station and make its way back to Earth, and researchers will get to see their experiments home for the holidays. One returning experiment, Plant Habitat 3, looks at whether genetic adaptations in one generation of plants grown in space can transfer to the next. Studying these changes could help us learn how to grow repeated generations of crops to provide food for future space missions. So we know the astronauts receive some holiday food aboard the space station, but how else do they celebrate in space? NASA astronaut Jasmine Mogbelli gave us a sneak peek of how she marked the first day of Hanukkah in the station cupola.
Happy Hanukkah from the International Space Station.
She said that real candles are definitely not allowed aboard the space station, so instead she improvised with a handmade menorah and a spinning dreidel.
Space to Ground.
Cookie decorating is another popular pastime on the space station. In December of 2021, NASA astronauts frosted their cookies with candy canes, Santas, and the NASA logo. But crews in the past have made other decorative objects and even the entire Earth out of their cookies. We'll have to keep a close eye on this crew's social media to see if they decorated too. European Space Agency astronaut Andy Mogensen saw something red in the sky and got a photo. And no, it wasn't Santa Claus, because obviously it's too early in December for that, but he did see a red sprite known as a transient luminous event. Red sprites form above thunderclouds on Earth. Because they're so high up on a cloudy day, it's rare to see them from the ground, but Andreas had the perfect vantage point from space. This was part of the Thor Davis experiment that investigates lightning in the upper atmosphere and how it might affect the concentration of greenhouse gases. Next week on Space to Ground, some of the hosts of the show will get together for the final episode of the year. We'll take a look back at some of the year's highlights and reflect on some of our favorite moments. We'll see you then.
All right. So that was Space to Ground, little things going on as they are celebrating in space. So those are some of the things that still go on even though we're not on Earth. And what I liked in that is they were showing you the crops that they were growing. And the crops that they were growing up there are real, beneficial, because they have to right now take up all the food. So any weight is important. And if they can actually save from taking something up there, then they can substitute some of the cargo for it if you can grow your own food. So then, trips can go deeper into space, because now the weight of taking extra food can be lifted a little bit by what you grow. So that's interesting. Also, I wonder if they're looking at how much carbon dioxide can be displaced by the plants. Probably not enough to sustain anybody, but plants do convert carbon dioxide into oxygen. So that would be one thing that would be beneficial, is that they would have plenty of carbon dioxide that would give off oxygen. Hey, maybe a little bit helpful. So those are things that what they say, inquiring minds would like to know. Now, last week, some of you did not get to see what we had going on with this week at NASA. I think there was a little problem with our signal getting out. We were able to get it out over our radio side. And that's one thing I didn't mention also, is that we are in a partnership now with KOJH, Low Power FM at 100.5. KOJH LPFM 100.5. That stands for Kansas City's oldest jazz house, which is at the Mutual Musicians Foundation. So we have a partnership, a collaboration with that organization, to where what we're doing right now, my voice is going out over 100.5 FM. So, you may have turned on this for your jazz, and they'll be getting back to the music shortly. But right now, we're putting out a little bit of information on the BFTAA and More show. And for all you KOJH listeners, want you to continue to listen to this station, and we have some jazz on here if you pick it up online, but you can also listen to get some of the interviews that we'll be doing shortly with jazz artists. So KUAW does put out music 24 hours a day. We have jazz, blues, but KOJH is the jazz house, Kansas City's oldest jazz house. So you can get some good jazz there, and you can get some good information by listening to what we've got for you. So, we can open up your horizons to what's going on with STEM, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. So right now, we're going to go back and give you what's going on this week at NASA, for those of you that weren't able to pick it up last week. And here we go with this week at NASA.
The first images from our Psyche spacecraft, celebrating an anniversary for the space station, and a new tool to help fight climate change. A few of the stories to tell you about this week at NASA. NASA's Psyche spacecraft, which launched on October 13th, captured the mission's first images, a milestone called First Light. As part of a test of the spacecraft's science instruments, Psyche's twin camera imager instrument captured a total of 68 images within a star field in the constellation Pisces. The First Light images were used to make up a mosaic. The spacecraft will arrive at its destination, the asteroid Psyche, in the main asteroid belt between Mars and Jupiter in 2029. On December 6th, we celebrated the 25th anniversary of International Space Station operations with a space-to-Earth call between the station crew and NASA Associate Administrator Bob Cabana and International Space Station Program Manager Joe Montalbano. On December 6, 1998, the first two elements of the orbital outpost, Unity and Zarya, were mated together during Space Shuttle mission STS-88. Cabana was the commander of that mission and became the first American to enter the space station. Learn more about the International Space Station at nasa.gov/station. During the 28th Annual United Nations Climate Conference, NASA and other U.S. government agencies unveiled the U.S. Greenhouse Gas Center. This multi-agency effort consolidates greenhouse gas data gathered by space, airborne, and ground-based assets. The goal is to provide researchers, decision makers, and others with one location for greenhouse gas data and analysis. NASA has selected 72 student teams to compete in the Human Exploration Rover Challenge next April near our Marshall Space Flight Center. The annual challenge, which will celebrate its 30th anniversary in 2024, gives high school, college, and university students an opportunity to design, build, and operate lightweight human-powered rovers on an obstacle course simulating lunar and Martian terrain, all while completing mission-focused science tasks. That's what's up this week at NASA. For more about what else we're up to, check out nasa.gov.
All right. And that is a good site that you might want to check out, nasa.gov. There is a lot of good information there, not just on space, but they have experiments, they have science-type classes that your kids can work on, even over this holiday period when they're out of school. Go to nasa.gov, let them go to that page and see some of the science experiments they can do, some of the technology experiments they can do, or read up on. There's a lot of things that they can be learning over this downtime of 10 days, and sometimes when they're just maybe getting on your last nerve, you might turn them loose on that, and that's better than just doing nothing. And as they're watching these things, they're picking up some information. You know, sometimes it may seem like, well, they're not serious about it, taking it in, but if you're reading or if you're watching some of the things that are on about NASA and space, some of it ends up sticking. We got to throw the seeds out, not that your child is going to just all of a sudden turn into a science rocket engineer or something like that, but we want to keep exposing them to things that can encourage them, because our kids have the brain power, they have the opportunities, they have so much to offer that we a lot of times don't allow them or don't encourage them to put forth. But our kids can compete on all levels, they can grow, and they have so much that they can offer and do that we want to get them exposed to all the things happening in STEM. Yeah, we had some kids out this weekend, and I'm going to pull up some pictures. Hopefully I can get them up there today. If not, I'll definitely have them. Well, I won't have them next week because it's going to be Christmas, and you'll probably be seeing a rerun of whatever I was talking about. Unless I can make a test, and then you probably won't watch it because it's Christmas Day anyway, so we won't worry about that big time. I'll put something on, maybe one of my past shows, but we'll come back. Christmas and New Year's both are going to be on Monday, so that's going to make it hard to do anything, any events or any shows over those 2 weeks. So don't look for a new BFTAA and more show over that time. And matter of fact, I'm checking my text right now to see that we're supposed to have our show that returned just last week, and that was, or week before last, Shifting Paradigms with B. Michael. And let's see it. And we'll see if we can text him and make sure that show's going to be coming in. I'm pretty sure it is, but we always like to let you know what's going to be coming up next. So let's see. We'll go back. And we'll get this pulled up. And that's will be the last show before the holidays. All right. So we've got that out there, and I'll see if I get a reply back from him to make sure everything's going to be there. But yeah, last week or week before last, because B. Michael's on every other Monday, and he did a good show, and I'm looking for him to have a real good show again this week. So we've got some long-running shows that are here at KUAW. There's been a lot of shows. Some shows come and some shows go, but we have shows like Source of the Inkwell, which I believe is one of the oldest shows that we have right now. We have Senior Moments. We have, we have Senior Moments. We have, the BFTAA and More show, because it's been here since the very beginning. We also have Jessica Lynn Speaks Life, Shifting Paradigm. These are shows, Carl Boyd's, Wave Your Grades, and Wake Up KC. These are shows that have been broadcasting for over 5 years on KUAW Radio. Yes, we've been around about 7-8 years now, and we have shows that have been around that long, and probably our newest show is Shifting Paradigms, and he's been on about 2 years now. So, we like what we're doing. We're putting out good information to the community, and information that you don't get on every station. So we like to bring you some of the things that you won't pick up. You can also check us out on Facebook. We have a lot of information that goes out on there. We've done some scoops. We've been some of the first to interview and to promote some of the things going on in Kansas City, especially coming out of the African-American community. So we hope that you would keep listening to us and support us. This is a volunteer organization. We're all volunteers here. Nobody gets paid. Matter of fact, a lot of people go into their pockets to help keep everything rolling. And we would like for you, to support us also. If you could make a donation, we would really appreciate it. See what we got here. All right, yeah. So B. Michael said he's going to be in shortly, and he does have a guest. So we will have a show at 6 p.m. With Shifting Paradigms. So we hope that you will be here to check that out. Shifting Paradigms with B. Michael. So stay tuned. KUAW bringing some of the things that you just don't get in other places or on other venues around the city. We got some new things going on too. The Black Family Technology Awareness Association is getting ready to revamp our web page, our Facebook page, everything. It won't be brand new starting at the beginning of 2023, but shortly thereafter into this new year, we're going to be coming out with new looks, with new information and things for you, as we've been blessed to have people that are donating to us and helping to support what we are doing. So I want to thank you, and as this comes up, as we see it, I want to give thanks to all of the companies, the businesses that have supported us in the past, all of those that are still supporting us today. We've had sponsors from banks to healthcare units to engineering firms to telecommunications firms to just individuals that want to support what's going on here at the Black Family Technology Awareness Association and KUAW Radio. And I want you to know that you can help also. You can donate if you go to www.bftaa.org or www.kuaw.org. If you go to either one of those, there's a donate button up in the upper left-hand corner that you can actually click on. That takes you to our PayPal account. You can use your debit card, credit card, bank deposit, whatever, and donate right there to KUAW or the Black Family Technology Awareness Association. So help support us to keep this information coming, to keep this information outlet in the community coming and growing. As I said, we now have a partnership with a low power FM station 100.5 FM KOJH, and we're always looking for new ways to get out. We'll probably also have a site that's going to be KUAW TV. That's just the end name of it, but where we'll be constantly putting out new shows, new information that you'll be able to take a part in. So stay tuned for KUAW TV from the KUAW Media Organization that is constantly working to bring you information that's coming from the African American community first and foremost, and then from the rest of Kansas City. Yes, we're broadcasting, we're breaking stuff to you. Matter of fact, if you were listening a couple weeks ago, you probably heard about The Drop, which is a new program to get underserved neighborhoods and people involved in the arts. And if you listen, and you can go back and listen to our old show, The Drop is a card that you can get that will let you get into different arts venues where there's shows going on. And the price, regardless of the ticket price, if you have a drop card, you only pay $10 for a ticket. So they're giving that out to, and it's free. The drop card doesn't cost you anything. You'll be able to pick one up at many outlets around town. I believe they're going to have some at the Kwanzaa event. But when there's things going on at the symphony, at some of the arts venues around, at the municipal auditorium or wherever they may be, that they have a price. Maybe it costs $25, maybe it's $30 or $40, and that's a little much. To make it easier to get, especially the underserved community in there, the drop card will be available, and you'll be able to get in for the low of $10. There'll be no event that is supported by the drop card that will be more than $10. Some of them will even be free if you have the drop card. So that is something that you heard about first right here at KUAW Radio. We're going to see if we can become one of the ambassadors so that you'll be able to get your drop card by contacting KUAW, and we would be one of the outlets for it in the arts. Because we definitely support the arts, the jazz, the music, the poetry, things that are going on around the city. So we want you to be able to connect with that by connecting with us right here at KUAW Radio. All right. So last week we were talking a little bit about what's going on with the digital divide and digital equity. I didn't get to finish the whole article, but there was a article that came up in the markup says what it's like living with limited access to the internet in the black rural South. Now, here in Kansas City, you don't think much about it, but there are a lot of African Americans that are in rural communities, small towns, farms and stuff. And there's whites and there's Hispanics and everybody. A lot of the rural area has a big deficit of access to the internet. And since the rural area has a deficit, you know that the minority area probably even has more of a deficit, because due to systematic racism and bigotry, a lot of times the minority communities are the last to be served. So even if the rural area is doing bad, the rural minority area is doing worse than that. So we know that there's a problem, and there was a article in it. This mainly concerned what was happening in Mississippi and some of the real South, but there's rural Missouri, there's rural Arkansas, Kansas. There's a lot of places that don't get the internet, and if they do, sometimes it's a lot higher than we'd pay even for cable. And for people who are marginalized, that just makes it just, where you just can't catch up. You're going to be behind in this digital economy. So, you think about, hey, you could work at home, work remotely. Well, if you don't have the internet, you can't do a work at home, work remotely type thing. See, some people even with disabilities or what have you, in the big cities, in areas where there's internet access, they can work from home. They can still earn an income. But if you're in a rural area, you may not be able to do that. You may not have the speed. Even if you have the internet, it may not be the speed that you want. Now, it says, why is equitable access to high-speed internet critical? And this, like I said, was in the markup. It's by Elia Wright for Capital B. Capital B is actually the company or the publication that this was originally published in, and it's being picked up by the markup. But it was from Elia Wright, and this was December the 6th that this came out. It does say, in Utica, Mississippi, a mere 35 miles from the state capital of Jackson, Carlton Turner reminisces on how his once thriving town isn't even an afterthought for development now. So when the high school closed in the mid-90s, local businesses and the only grocery store followed suit, leaving many to move elsewhere. Ever since, no one has tried to invest in this 75% black town of more than 780 people. So these are small towns, small community. And now Carlton Turner is trying to change that trajectory through his organization, the Mississippi Center for Cultural Production, or SIP Culture, which supports community development through arts, storytelling, and economic development. So that's something that you'd like to have. The arts are important everywhere. But having equitable access to high-speed internet is critical to that work. At the SIP Culture headquarters in Utica, the spotty AOL-like service makes it hard to host Zoom calls or to edit photos in Adobe Lightroom. You can't have the classes that you want to have. Download videos from Adobe Premiere. So there's a lot of software that can be provided to nonprofits, but most of your software now, a lot of your software is cloud-based. So they're expecting you to be able to get to the internet to get it, to create digital storytelling. So Hinds County, where Utica is located, has the third highest rate of unserved locations when it comes to broadband. So the third highest rate of unserved locations. Says we don't have the speed to be able to get online and process or render a video or transmit high quality video across the internet. It takes us much longer to do basic tasks, Turner said. And that has fundamentally changed the way we have to operate, which means it costs more money for us to do business across the board. And that's a challenge for anybody who's looking at investing in the future of the community. So, we have to think about that. If you don't have internet, if you can't do Zoom calls, some of us take that for granted that we've got that. So there are areas in this country, in the United States, that don't have that, a lot of them. They're not all minority. This article is about minorities, and the minority community makes up a larger share of the don't haves than otherwise, and you'll see as it go on. Turner is frustrated as he thinks about his attempt to get better quality service, particularly at his home. Last year, he found out his white neighbor had AT&T. Turner had called AT&T previously, but says he was told they didn't service his area. He went back home and saw the fiber optic line, which goes across his property and under the road. He called the company again. He says he heard a familiar answer. They don't serve his area. So he has to speak with a supervisor. So he said, I put them on FaceTime and I traced the line and then turned to show them that that's my house right there. And you're telling me that I can't get it, but it's coming from my yard. So it's running right through his property. There's something systemic in that that needs to be checked out. So that's, something that days later, Turner says he was able to subscribe to AT&T service. So, at first, they don't have it. They don't service that. We don't know the reason. We don't know who he talked to or anything like that. But he had to be more resourceful in showing them, It says in an email response, AT&T, an AT&T spokesman said the company is committed to providing high-speed, reliable connectivity to Americans across the country, and that it was difficult to comment on allegations without a customer's address. And capital B, the people that were doing this story said they did not provide AT&T with Turner's address, so they didn't want to call him out like that. We consider a variety of economic factors and cost evaluations when deciding where to build networks. Race is not among those, the statement said. We continue to aggressively expand our fiber footprint and actively participate in federal broadband funding programs to help bring the benefits of connectivity to all Americans, including those who live in sparsely populated areas. The company advises customers to look up service availability on AT&T.com or call 1-800-288-2020 to check availability at their address. So they, and just in full disclosure, I'm a retiree of AT&T. I worked at AT&T. It's a good company, and I don't disparage them at all. I actually worked in rolling out DSL in areas that were at the time considered Southwestern Bell or SBC area, but we serviced a 5-state area: Missouri, Arkansas, Kansas, Oklahoma, Texas. And in the early 2000s, there was a big push to get DSL out, and a lot of the states required that every city that AT&T had a central office in, or SBC at that time, had a central office. So if they were providing phone service, they had to put in a DSL hub in that office. Now, the reach of those hubs were only about 3 miles from the central office, so it didn't go everywhere. But we put DSL in a lot of small towns, small cities. I went in some offices that were no bigger than maybe a garage, maybe a double-wide garage that was providing phone service, and we added DSL equipment. Now, if you lived more than 3 miles from that office, though, you were out of luck, because the old DSL, the original DSL, did not travel that far. So just full disclosure for the company that you got to have. But now that wasn't fiber optic. Now they're talking about fiber optics, and they're rolling that out. And he had a fiber optic line going through his land. And so it was definitely a box somewhere out there. He should have been in a last mile somewhere if you're running through his property, and his neighbor had it. Come on now, we got to do better than that. So, those are the things that we have to look at, though, and those are the things that we still want to make sure that communities are being served. The plan that the government has now, and I think that's a little bit farther in this article, and I'll probably cover that with you next week, that we'll get a little bit more in what they're doing in Washington to make sure that they get it out. They also had a story in here of a lady that was working on her PhD. Okay, she's working on a doctorate and had to get a mobile hotspot because she lived out in the country for $130 a month just to be able to complete her work for her PhD. $130 a month just to get internet. Saying if you're in Kansas City and stuff, I mean, you can get basic from companies for $40, $50 that's going to give you maybe 25 or 200 megabits of speed right there. But in the rural areas, that could be a luxury. We've got Google here in Kansas City. We're real spoiled. They're talking about gigabit. Now I'm hearing that they're even talking about 2 gigabits. And that's really talking about a lot of data going down the line. So, we just want to, not to accuse anybody, but we want to say that there is value in having the internet in your home, in your business, in your community. And we need to make that a overarching priority in this country to get the internet everywhere so that we can use all the brain power that we have. All the meetings that we have, all of the to keep democracy even going well, we need to be able to communicate better. Communication from, when we had just the mail to the telegraph to the telephone, now it's the internet, and we've got to have those communications in and around our homes, our communities, and we've got to take advantage of it. If you don't know how to use it, you need to learn. We got to ask somebody. You need to start building up your your internet literacy, so that you can use some of this technology around, because it is definitely a needed thing. Another thing that we're going to cover that was in an article, this too is from the markup that comes from Monique Madden and Wesley Callow, and it's talking about how to keep your phone off the grid. So a lot of you may not know, but if you've got a telephone, if you've got a cell phone, you're being tracked. There's a lot of ways that you're on the grid, and it's not to say that you're doing anything wrong that you would want to be off the grid, but sometimes people may have a story to tell or may want to be a whistleblower on something, and you don't necessarily want to be identified. You don't necessarily want to be able to be tracked in certain instances, or for whatever reason that you want to keep your privacy, you have a right to be private. Well, there's some things that you can do, some things you need to know. Some people use what they call burner phones that they can throw away. They buy, $40, $30, $40 phone that you can use, and then you don't have to worry about it being traced because you just get rid of it at the end. That's something that is, but we've got some articles on that talks about how to keep your phone off the grid, and you may want to, I don't know. But there's a lot of things that are used to track you. If you've got a lot of apps on your phone and you've given them permissions to use your location or things like that, then you can be tracked. You can be tracked when you put in some of the store rewards cards or your frequent flyer cards and things like that. Some of those things report on where you are. Not that they're trying to do anything bad, but to give you better service, they want to track you. They want to know where you are. We can show you something in that area that fits what you're looking for. Like you say, if you want to find the nearest Burger King, you bring out your phone and it tells you where the nearest Burger King is. Well, it's tracking you. It knows where you are. Some people don't think about that. But all of these things that you have, you are being tracked. Your phone tells the world where you are all the time. So there's some things you can do if you want to not be tracked. And there could be at any time, for any reason, there's any number of reasons that you may not want somebody to know exactly where you are. It may not be safe. It may there's probably people in some foreign countries, especially that, the government may be against you, and you don't want them to be able to track you. I know there's probably people in China and stuff where they can't get on the internet. They can go to jail for going to some sites on the internet and stuff. So, they may not want to be tracked for a lot of different reasons. And if we don't watch out, if we ain't careful here in the United States, it could get like that. But there are some ways, and we're going to cover that next week. We'll talk about how to keep your phone off of the grid for those who may want to know. So you can tell your friends. We're going to talk a little bit about that, because this is what we're about. We're about technology. We're about the internet. And we're about closing that digital divide, increasing our digital literacy, and knowing a little bit more of what's going on in this 21st century world. All right, that's my show for today. I am your host, Louis George Walker. This is the BFTAA and More Show. BFTAA stands for the Black Family Technology Awareness Association. I didn't even get to tell you, and I've got some pictures. We had our kids, our Lego robotics team, competed Saturday in a Lego qualifier event. We didn't qualify, but they've got the highest score that we've had since we've been doing Lego with our kids. So hats off to the Cool and Powerful Robotics Club that competed at Penn Valley Community College Saturday, December the 16th in Kansas City, Missouri. I have some pictures up on our Facebook page and on the internet, a lot of different sites, so that you can see what our kids do. We're really proud of them, and we're especially proud of our volunteers, Mr. Miguel Fernandez and Matthew Cadell. Both of them worked with these. Valencia was even here at the beginning, so we have Valencia Griswold. So all of these people have worked with our young people, and we had a group that at the end came up to be one of the best programming robotics groups of Lego students that we've ever had, and we are proud of them. So we'll have some pictures and a little story about that next week also. Well, not just next week. Go to follow us on Facebook, and you'll see about the young kids that competed in the Lego competition this weekend. Thank you, and we appreciate you. All right, that's it for today. We'll check with you next week on the, well, not next week because it'll be Christmas, but we'll check with you in 2024, live and in living color from the KUAW studios. This is George Walker signing off. Stay tuned. At 6 o'clock in about 13 minutes, you'll have B. Michael with Shifting Paradigms. All right, we'll see you then.